Good afternoon, everyone. We'll get started here in another minute on our third installment of the USFA Procurement mini-series. I'll do some interjections. I'm Jeremy West. If you've not been able to join us before or don't know who I am, but I think I know most of you. Glad you can make some time this afternoon, or it could be morning if you're West Coast. So thank you for joining. And this is our third installment of the USFA Procurement mini-series. And so this is focusing on USDA Foods procurement in particular, and was born out of ACTA, a presentation that some of our presenters were a participant of, and then been modified a bit for this purposes. And so we've been excited to have these presentations just so we can learn from each other. And so we'll do as we have in weeks past. We have about 20 minutes for our presenters, which today are from New York City Department of Education. So Ann O'Donnell, who's our Director of Supply Chain Management, and Stephen O'Brien, the Director of Strategic Partnerships and Policy, will be co-presenting today. So we're excited to have them. And we know that purchasing in any school district is a beast. Purchasing in New York City Department of Education is even more so. So these are the experts here, and we're happy to have them presenting today. And then at the end, we'll have some time for questions. Feel free to pop those in the chat as well. And so we'll be monitoring that. And with that, I think we'll go ahead and get started.
Thank you. Next slide, Jeremy, please.
Let me get, oh, yep, hang on. There we go.
Thank you for joining everyone today. I'm just going to give you a brief overview of the New York City district before COVID, the pandemic. The district consists of 5 boroughs: Manhattan, Bronx, Brooklyn, Queens, and Staten Island. We're 100% CEP. We have approximately 1.1 million students enrolled. We serve approximately 990,000 meals per day. Approximately, that's about 265,000 breakfasts, 625 lunch, and about 100,000 meals of the after-school program, which consists of snack or supper. We're approximately in 1,500 buildings. We serve 32 different menus, and as of last year, our entitlement was $42 million. Next slide for Mr. O'Brien.
Thanks, Ann. So today, as we've entered into sort of our COVID service, and as we've entered into this school year, we are following the summer meals program. So we're claiming under the summer meals program. Still have about 1.1 million students enrolled. There's been a small dip in enrollment year over year, but nothing major based on preliminary review of data from October. We serve about 450,000 meals per day. That's a combination of adults and students. We have fewer menus. At this point, the latest count is we have 18 menus. So going from, I think Ann had mentioned 32 menus down to 18 menus, still 1,500 buildings. And the entitlement that we're anticipating is going to be the same based on the way that policy has been moving forward for us to be able to use previous year's participation and allocation numbers, so that we anticipate it being the same amount, for about 42 million. Next slide, Jeremy. Yeah, go ahead.
Sorry. Due to COVID-19, there were definitely more. Yep. Definitely, we had major distribution concerns. The first would be the pre-made items. Majority was, supply could not meet the demand due to people like us changing how we changed from a hot menu to a cold. But also the issue that the manufacturers were running into was the social distancing that needed to be implemented on their production line. So if you had a production line of 50 people and now you have to put in social distancing 6 feet, that reduced the number of people on your production line. And they might not have been as quick as to implement a second production line. So that was a concern. And then another reason was, believe it or not, employees were actually making more money collecting unemployment. For our canned tuna, we did see a delay in our delivery, and that was due to the travel restrictions that they put in place for the inspectors due to COVID. Cheese, again, we had a delivery, our first delivery for our grilled cheese sandwich was delayed, and that was due to staffing. They had drivers out. And at this time with Land O'Lakes, we get our individual cheese sticks made in Wisconsin. So unfortunately, if you've been listening to the news, Wisconsin has had a major increase in COVID. So they had to shut down their plant due to positive cases. With the issue with, as we stated before, we had a 50% reduction in participation. So Christina Perez, she's one of our inventory specialists. She and I then would work with OGS and looked at our truckload management. And at this time right now, we have probably canceled about 50% of our truckloads that were scheduled for this year due to COVID. And that's because, again, like the rest of the country, we really went from hot meals serving all cold to a grab, cold meals, which is our grab and go. And that's a completely different menu from obviously the hot. Looking forward to next year's planning, Christina and I are anticipating with the vaccine and everything getting out, we're hoping that September of 21, we will come back to a regular school year. I'm going to knock on wood on that. But again, we're going to have to look at what our, the management of our truckloads, what we have in inventory compared to what is going to be needed for the school year. I do believe our counts will go back up. I'm not concerned about that, but we have to take an account of what inventory we have now, which is a good thing. Starting next week, December 14th, we're giving the option of principals to participate in hot meals being distributed up, to the classrooms. So we're hoping that also we'll be using some of our USDA Foods items based on the menu that was created. And again, we're going to still consider looking at grab and go friendly items, the prepackaged items for next year. And it was interesting, while our processing was really, I'm going to say that our major hit this year, our direct delivery, the brown box, we were able to manage that. And we had some extra loads come in of canned corn and stuff that we took from there. And we're also increased our allocation to DOD, and we switched over to a lot of items that we were able to get from the DOD, which is the Department of Defense. So we are working through the COVID pandemic as best as possible. Next slide. Again, this is New York City's timeline for the USDA Foods. I'm going to say it's like every other district in the country. December and January, the USDA Foods available list is released. And at that time, that's when the menu planning begins in December and January. February, we receive our entitlement. And then we're also looking to finalize our menu by running a frequency list and then running a value positive and negative spreadsheet. February and March, more towards the end of February, orders are started to be placed. And July, the beginning of the new year, we start tracking to make sure our usage is on point. I also wrote in September, I work very closely with the Office of General Services, OGS. And so we'll have 2 meetings, one in September, that's just to review our orders. They remind me that I should be using, 10% usage a month. And then we have another meeting in December, and that's when we evaluate to make sure that we're on track with the 10% usage. And if we notice that is something that is off, like maybe we have a little extra taco meat, we'll work together with menu management, and then maybe we'll do a promotion one day to use up the extra usage that we have on hand. And then also in December, we would also adjust the spring menu based on our usage. They're very supportive, and thank goodness for them. I've been with the Board of Ed since '92, but I've only been in the position for 3 years. So for me, I'm constantly still learning. Next slide. Our menu planning is a true collaboration between two departments of menu management and supply chain management. The menu drives our USDA food ordering. We plan for 3 menus during the year. We have a fall menu that runs from September to January, and then from spring from February to June. And then we have a summer menu during the months of July and August. When the available list comes out, the one thing that we're always looking at is anything that's new. So this year we ordered the 4-ounce yogurt that was absolutely a fan favorite, very acceptable by the students in the community. So we'll be looking forward to ordering that again next year. And then we're always looking at the red orange subgroup for the vegetables. I'm not going to say that we struggle, but it seems to be a lot of sweet potatoes and carrots. So we're always looking for, if they have a new item, maybe we can generate or create a recipe with that item. And then after the menus are planned, we then run a product and recipe frequency report. This assists us in showing us how much we need to order for the upcoming year. And of course, we look at our participation and if the acceptability of the product. If something did not go over well, chances are we will not order it again. And then we also do look at our past history in ordering. And Christina and I have gotten very well in taking notes during the year, what has worked, what we ran out of, what we need to increase for the next year. Then after the frequencies are created, we then, based on the frequencies, we then create a USDA Foods positive and negative value spreadsheet. This is I would say, I hate to say the word Bible, but this is our one pager that is constantly looked at and scrutinized on how we can improve on our ordering. And this is to maximize the positive items on the menu, which I will go over on a later slide. The one thing we do struggle with is due to the New York City prohibited ingredients, we have antibiotic-free standards, and some of the USDA foods do not meet our nutritional standards. So at times it does put a limit on what we're ordering. An example would be the canned fruit. We don't use high fructose corn syrup, and we were finding that some of the fruit that the USDA provided had high fructose corn syrup. So at this point right now, we're just really ordering the unsweetened applesauce. So what we've decided is for next year, we're going to increase our allocation to the DOD, which is the Department of Defense. That's our fresh fruit and our fresh vegetables. The thought behind it was it's going to assist us with enhancing recipes. The recipes across the city, since it is 1,500 buildings, would create more consistency among the products that we're creating. And we also were looking towards the salad bar. Everyone, again, consistency with the salad bar. We were looking, instead of buying the 5-pack pound of onions, maybe get them pre-chopped. But unfortunately, we're not too sure. We are going to go with salad bars, but maybe we'll offer a salad bowl on the line, and we'll be able to use these products. Next slide, please. So this is the example of the frequency, New York City frequency worksheet. This is based on the menu, the planned menu. It's not really finalized as of yet because we need to run the positive negative worksheet. This is based on our three top menus. That would be K through 8, the junior high school, and the high school. So if you look, the first column, I'm going to use the mozzarella sticks as an example. So from the fall to the June menu, mozzarella sticks will fall 37 times on the menu. And then you'll see the next 2 columns are just a breakdown of on the fall menu and on the spring. So we run this for all the items that we'll be using from the USDA Foods. So you could see like the American cheese, it's offered daily. So for Christina and I, when we order it, we'll look at our usage and then we'll see if like maybe we should increase if, Nicole's going to offer a different type of sandwich. To get to the next spreadsheet, I didn't include it in the presentation, but we order, obviously everyone knows, we order by pounds. So to get from your frequencies to the pounds, we will then take the mozzarella sticks, we'll take the number of times it's on the menu, times our average daily participation, and we divide it by our portion size, and that gives us the number of cases. And then to figure out the number of pounds to order, we'll take the number of cases needed times the yield. Next slide. So as I said, this page is my Bible. This is what, if you saw it at the end of, by the time I'm placing orders, it is ripped, torn, crumpled, just because I constantly have it in my hand. This will give us a clear understanding of where we're allocating and what product we're allocating our USDA entitlement to. So the purpose of this form is we have value positive and value negative. The purpose for us is that we look at these items that fall under the positive, and we want to enhance or put that on the menu as much as possible to get the most bang for our buck. Unfortunately, we also know that if we don't use the money, we lose the money. So take the mozzarella sticks. So what's important in the spreadsheet is the first column is the pounds needed to order. So that we have figured out. And if there's a carryover, the carryover is deducted. So I'm assuming for next year, since we're still not using as much of our processed items as we should, we will have a carryover for a majority of these items. The second column is the cases that needed. And so for me, the columns that I really look at would be, then you see the purchase cost of the mozzarella sticks are at $42.09. And then you see the commodity full cost is $40.11. So this, and then you see the difference is $1.98. So this would work in our favor. The more cases we order of the mozzarella sticks, the better, it is for, I'm going to say, our budget, and we're using the entitlement dollars wisely. To get the savings, the last column, you're taking the cases that are needed and multiplying it by the $1.98. So for the mozzarella sticks, by offering them 37 times on our menu, we have a savings of $161,000. So unfortunately, when you go down to the negative, and it's interesting, when I presented the first time, I used the burgers. The burgers were a negative, it was $21.24 at a loss. But again, we decided last year, this loss is significant. And then also the city had an initiative for us to cut down on our burgers. So that kind of worked in our favor. So we did not order burgers this year through commodity. We were offering burgers, I think once every week. And then now I think we were supposed to change the menu in September from once every 3 months. So that was going to work in our favor. But this year, when we run it, we're going to look at our turkey burger because we are going to increase that usage. So again, this is we're trying to get the most bang for our buck. And again, the purpose of this is that we want to try to enhance our value positive menu items that are on our menu. The way we also look at it is we're spending $1.4 million because we added, we took the positive and the negative and subtracted it. So we look at it that we're spending $1.4 million to receive the $42 million in entitlement. So my goal for this year is to absolutely, I've only been doing this for 3 years. So I have the 1.4 stuck in my mind, and that's something that I know moving forward, it's, you constantly want to beat. So I'll be looking at this very closely next year, and hopefully we're returning to a normal year. That's really all I can say. And that's it for that slide. Next slide for Mr. O'Brien.
Thank you, Ann. So you kind of have a sense of how the commodities are allocated and the thought process as Ann outlined, but there's also the actual structure of the way that we do bids. And so the Alliance had asked us to sort of explain this a little bit more. So we have a food distribution bid that basically is similar to everybody else's. A lot of you do bids every year, where you'll take all of the 350 or so items that you need to support your menu. You'll conduct a bid process and you'll get bid pricing that you'll keep for the year to support your menu. what we do is we basically do a distribution bid about every 5 years. Sometimes we extend it, but you'll do a distribution bid about every 5 years. Similar to you, we'll have all the items we need to support the menu in that distribution bid. We'll put it out, we'll get the quotes, and we'll award based on what we think is the lowest bidder first, and then obviously there's other considerations that we'll make. So the distributor will get the sort of full toolbox, basically, of all the ingredients we need to support our menus. But on top of that, we have what we call a contract direct model, where we're looking to do direct contracts with suppliers. So, and I should mention, all of these are requests for bids. We're not really in favor of doing requests for proposals. The city and we've experimented with requests for proposals, but we really want to do requests for bids. So we have the distribution bid as sort of our backbone of moving food to support our menu from the supplier through the warehouses and to the schools. The distributor delivers the last mile basically right to the school building. A contract direct model is we might take a category of products or a specific product and look for a contract to be put out. It could be a category like antibiotic-free chicken as an example, and we'll list all of the 5 or 10 items that we need to support our menus. They may already be on our distribution contract, but we're actually looking to get a bid directly with the supplier, the manufacturer. So we'll do a separate bid process. We'll explain what we think our frequencies, our usage will be. We'll do our estimates, and we'll send that out for a request for bid. And we'll ask them to please give us the pricing for each of these products. Once we get that back, what we commonly find is because we want to establish a relationship directly with the supplier, we'll get better pricing than what we'll get through just the distribution bid on its own. So it's sort of like on top of the distribution bid, we'll send out that contract direct bid, and we'll look to get the best quality and the best price possible. Once we get that, the way the contract direct bid is written, we'll say that they need to work through our distributors as far as delivering it to their warehouses. And then the distributor is responsible for paying that contract direct vendor based on reconciling invoices delivered to schools. And they're responsible for, the distributor is responsible for delivering it, obviously. So it's an interesting model that has helped with a lot of stability when it comes to our products and also better relationships with our vendors. So where we were a couple of years ago was we were basically at about 70-75% of our products were coming through on a distribution bid. And the balance 25% was basically coming through a contract direct. And over the past 3 to 4 years, we've been moving more towards a contract direct model, where we're looking to get up to 70% of our products, maybe 80% of our products through a contract direct model. Both of them are still about 5 years, and so one is not connected to the other. So you could have contract direct models that will transition through a distribution contract, and there might be a new distributor, so they can live independently from each other. But the basic gist is you have your distribution model that delivers the food, warehouses the food, and has a price against all of the food items, and then you have a contract direct that sort of carves out these items that we know are either high volume or have attributes that we want to elevate. And so as a result, we'll do a direct relationship with these vendors to get that product into our system at the best price possible. They do have some limitations. With a distribution bid, you could bid that 350 items, and the distribution bid in New York does have the ability to do some price quotes throughout the life of the contract, because as you can imagine, you might want to change your menu and you need to do like sort of mini bids in order to add items to that distribution contract. So it might provide you an opportunity to be more innovative and a little more flexible. Whereas when you go to the contract direct bid, you are actually setting those products down and saying you're going to use those products for 5 years. And in order to create a lasting relationship with these suppliers, you obviously want to meet those commitments. So as a result, your menu becomes a little bit more locked in the sense that you've agreed to buy these products during the life of the contract. And so when Anne was talking about the menus and the way the menus are planned, we have a more rigid menu for the year with 2 opportunities for adjustments, basically in the winter for the spring semester, and then at the end of the spring semester for the summer meals program. So I hope that wasn't all too confusing, but again, distribution and contract direct. Next slide. So our bakery contract is an RFP, but you know, it is moving to an RFP. We're actually coming to the end of that RFP contract and moving to an RFP. But basically, it has a combination of fresh and frozen products, and there is a distributor that's part of that contract. It's a single vendor that actually distributes the product directly to our schools. And then we have milk contracts. So the previous slide was really talking about our food distributors for grocery, frozen, and produce. Then we have a bakery contract that delivers the frozen and fresh bread items. And then we have a milk contract. And that milk contract is a great example of sort of bifurcating, where we had the supply contracts and the distribution contracts. So we have a distribution contract to distribute the product to all of our schools, the 1,500 buildings. But then we have a separate contract for the actual fluid milk that we're contracting to be put into the containers and sent to the distributors. And again, that's the contract direct model, where we said to the dairies, this is the product that we want. These are the prices we'd like. We'd like it to be local, etc. And then we have a separate contract for just the warehousing and distribution of the milk. And we saw savings there. Next slide. There you go. Pretty good.
All right.
We have 3 minutes to spare, I think, Jeremy. Thank you.
You bet. Let's give a round of applause for Ann and Stephen. Thank you. Thank you. And a reminder that next week we'll conclude this mini series with LA. They've been invited to, they have a unique model as well. So we wanted to invite them into this conversation too. So with that, I'm trying to find the chat, but if you have a question, please feel free to put it in the chat. And then you can also unmute yourself and just ask the question directly as well too. Let's stop sharing.